Hi and welcome over to the workshop. In this video we'll look at Peco's older version of a solenoid motor. Now it is quite old. If you take a look at this, there we go. This one has probably seen many better days and found its way into a bundle, a job lot on eBay and all the way to my workshop bench. I don't hold much hope for this in the long run. It's probably on its last legs. It served a good life on a layout. It's ripped out for a reason. Remember that when you're buying things on eBay, that they're there for a reason. And most of the time these motors are either there because somebody's not got the hang of using motors, or they're coming to the end of their life and they're problematic. It's quite simple to wire them up. Got a left and a right, a positive and a negative. So left and a right. We've got a positive and a negative for one side, a positive and a negative for the other side. Whichever side is live is where the pin's going to go. So what we can do is we can make one side completely common and hook them together, and that will stay hooked up. And then the other side will work on a switch. So whichever way we touch on this one will be where our pin is going to go. I will need to extend this pin. It's a bit too small for actually touching a track through any kind of baseboard. So I'll do that in another video with a lot of other motors that I'm going to have to do it to. But in the meantime, let's get this hooked up and test it out. It's probably going to end up in a fiddle yard anyway, so it's not the end of the world. It'll get replaced with seep motors because I prefer those. But waste not, want not. Let's see what we can get out of the old thing before it does eventually pack up. But I'll show you how to wire it up. So the first thing we need, nice clear desk to start with, as always. Grab yourself a soldering iron, some solder. You'll want a bit of flux. You want some wire. Because this motor has been wired before, I've actually stripped it back for the purpose of this video. My wire is already ready. I will use a different colour wire for the common, and then I will use the same colour wire for each side of the switch. You'll need some tools. Again, probably won't need them in this video, but some thin-nosed pliers, a small screwdriver should you need it. You won't on this one. A pair of scissors and some wire strippers over there as well. Always good to have on the workbench. So let's get it in there. It's going to be interesting figuring out where to hold this. So there we go. That'll work. That's quite easy actually. So the first thing I'm going to do, take a small piece of black wire. Going to wrap it around here, tin it, and then we'll join it on like so. There we go. Perfect. And then this side, a bit of flux on there. Use one of these dropped bits of solder. Just tin enough on the end. It's quite warm that, so I'll get my tweezers and join that. There we go. Great. Right, now that's our common sorted. We'll get our switch here. And on this side as well. Fantastic. Just tin off the ends of the wire. They'll live in here anyway, so it's not like they're going anywhere, but when you want to take them out or put them back, if you need to get to this motor, which I will more than likely need to, it's much easier, and then you don't end up with fray wires all over the place. So I like to tin them off. And that's it. We have another motor done. Now we know how to wire up the motors themselves, let's look at connecting them to our controllers. Now I use this over here. This is the DigiKeys DR5000, but in order to make those motors tick, I need a decoder in the middle, so I'm using this. This is the DCC Concepts ADS-8SX solenoid decoder. Now I like this one because it also comes with the added benefit of being able to toggle my points with a manual switch. It also comes with another little feature which you can use either on your control board, or you could wire them up to a dual aspect signal, because when you throw the points one way or the other, you'll get a red or a green LED to indicate which way the point has gone. Now you could use that as a signal if you liked, or you could have it on your control board. There are things from DCC Concepts which will give you all this. I believe it's the Mimic they call it, which will allow you to see all this anyway, but this has it all built in, so it's an awesome little bit of kit. Not only can you have the 8 points here, but you can daisy chain this straight out at this end. So you can see I've got 2 wires coming in here. These 2 wires go off to the DR5000, and I can have 2 further wires coming out this end, which just are a continuation straight through and out and into another unit. So that gives me 16 points via these. I will probably look at going towards the DigiKeys DR4018, which gives me the 8 points with simple control. The beauty of that for me is if I only use 7, I've got the extra output to use as a signal or for lighting in houses or whatever I want around the board. I'm not stuck to it just being solenoids, whereas this is just solenoids. Not knocking this is an awesome bit of kit, and if you've got frog points, then this is the piece of kit for you. As you can see, we've got our 4 motors here. We've got our old Peco, we've got a Hornby, we've got a newer Peco, and we've got the Gaugemaster seat motor. These Gaugemaster seat motors are also the ones that have the polarity, the frog polarity on them, which I won't use, but I use them because they've got the 2 holes in there, so I can mount them straight into the board. They will very rarely be wired like this. Instead, you'll have something in the middle, maybe a connection, some connectors to push them together, which I will be using terminal blocks in the middle. And I've wired them straight in, and they go into this last separated 3-point screw terminal. Your common in the middle, which we've color coded, if you remember, with the single piece of wire going out, and then either way you want it to flick on either side. On the board itself, it will say left, common, right. Now if I power this up, there we go. Now when I throw point 1, you can see all the motors are currently listening to point 1. Now in order to program them all, that will be a separate video. There we go, so all 8 points. Now if we just focus on the number 1 over here, this would be number 1. You can see I've got my manual switch, and if I use the manual switch, it will throw, and also I get the LEDs to indicate which way, so you will get an idea what I mean by you could use that for signals. You just need to send the LEDs along with your solenoid power. 6 wires you need to send that down your layout, and you've got both. So that's how you wire it in to a DCC Concepts ADS-8SX. Now if you're going to use the 4018, it will be a similar idea to wiring it in. You've got your 3 points on the 4018, your right, your left and your common, and that will go off to your solenoid motor, and then it's just a case of wiring it up. I'll quickly show you how to run these on a DC layout. So here we have our motor again, our point motor, A, B and C there, and it's wired up slightly different. So this is a controller. It's got 2 tracks coming out, This is like a Series D, Gaugemaster Series D. It's got two tracks, our left track, our right track, or up and our down line, and they can be controlled independently, backwards, forwards, and fast and slow. But also the benefit of this controller is that it has an accessories output. So we can wire our accessories directly to this output. And as you can see, we're keeping the negative connected to the point motor as a common. And our positive will go down to the switch, and the switch will sit in the permanent upright or permanent off position until we push it in either direction, throwing the power to flick the switch. This means we can control our tracks independently, as you need to in DC. You can have your up, your down line, so you've got two tracks. It doesn't matter if there's power or no power on the tracks when you want to throw your switches, because our points are controlled separately. So here we have our Gaugemaster seat point motor. You can see we have A, B and C. So C is a black wire here, which is the same as our image, and our two left and right, A and B, are blue wires. Now we need to link them up to a switch. So here's our switch. A switch has a black wire for its positive, unfortunately, and two blue wires for either side. Now I'd normally tin these, but I wasn't expecting to pull it out, so we'll run with that. And here we've got some power. So here's a 12-volt DC power supply. Plug it into here, which gives us a runoff. Now this is wired to the positive, the one with the white on it, so we know that the positive needs to go to the switch. There we go. And we know the negative needs to go to the motor, the point motor. Okay, and then we need to join the blues up, so I'll grab another one of these quick connectors. So here's our blues for our motor, and on this side our blues for the switch. Okay, so let's give it a go. At the moment you can see it's in the permanently off position, which is straight up, off for the middle, and on and on. So if I pull it this way or push this way, the motor should move as well. So if I hold this like that, and let's see. And that's it. I hope that all makes sense, either wiring directly from the accessory part of your controller or even the ADS-8SX if you're running in DCC. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.